with Zach with Living Corporate, and yo, for like the first time in a while, no interview this week. Just me talking. Wanted to slow some things down, share some thoughts with you all. A little bit of the state of the Living Corporate network, a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? Some context, some grounding. I want to say that when I decided to create Living Corporate back in 2018, I just knew that there was value in having frank conversations about the lived experiences of Black and brown people that did not consider HR or what your white colleagues would think and say, that did not center comfort of others, but really emphasized on the centering and amplifying of Black and brown people. And that was really the mission. That's it. Just to create a space where we had frank conversations and, as we say, real talk in the corporate world. What I realized, and I did not anticipate this, right? Like when Living Corporate came into being, was that brands would value really engaging with these audiences, especially since those very audiences work for their companies and they're trying to recruit more from those audiences. I didn't appreciate the value that organizations would place on that because, frankly, up until that point, I wasn't really treated with any high regard, right? Like Living Corporate was very much so like me trying to punch up at these systems that were never really designed for people like me or people that look like me to be successful. And so it's been humbling, right? Like I want to say since like 2020, I mean, we've had brands on like early as the show started. So like, it's not that, but I think it's just the fact that folks really want to work with us, right? Like the ads and things that you hear from time to time are brands that actually want to work with us and who are in alignment with our mission and are really serious about the work of equity and workplace fairness, right? Like that's dope. And as I kind of come up and I look, it's been 5 years of us creating this content, of us challenging white systems and white institutions and straight systems and straight institutions and able-bodied systems and institutions, and 2 million downloads later, 900 or so podcasts and videos and webinars. And then the fact that now Living Corporate is in a place that it can bring on more people and help them in their dreams. The Living Corporate is this space and a resource for historically marginalized people, but also a space and a resource for those who are trying to learn and trying to do better. Because it's really invaluable. Very rarely would any white person be able to sit and be invisible when two Black people are talking about how it really is to be them to each other. White folks are never privy to those kinds of conversations, right? Those are different than like a learning module on why saying the N-word is bad. No, the ability to listen and hear a real dialogue between two marginalized people about the reality of their experiences every day and how they get through it and what they've learned and how they try to teach others. To be able to listen to that is a powerful learning modality. And I love the fact that Living Corporate has the capacity to be both a refuge and a place of education without putting a tax or labor cost on Black and brown people to educate aspirational allies. They're still able to help folks who are genuinely trying to learn. And that's a beautiful thing. we're in this landscape right now, and I know we've already talked a little bit about, the SCOTUS decisions and all that stuff. And so, I'm really curious to see where brands go in 2024 and how they tackle because a lot of folks are going to try to do this dance between pleasing government and governmental interests or political interests, governmental interests too, whatever. And also trying to serve this very real population that's expecting tangible, meaningful things. They're looking for an equitable experience, and they don't care that these right-wingers over here are decrying diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's going to be a really interesting season. We're in an interesting season. It's going to get even more interesting. I am, the next 12 to 18 months, I find very curious, right? Certain things I think are always going to be staples, right? So data analytics in DEI, assessments, right? Really understanding okay, what is your data telling you? People are going to always want that, irrespective of how right or left-leaning their stances may be, because everyone wants insight into their companies, right? If you don't know how to sell it, that's a different problem. But positioned well, any and everybody wants insight into their companies. No one's going to sit back and say, I don't. So that's always going to be a thing, some type of data-driven consulting, analysis, visualization, blah, blah, blah. And then the other thing that's going to be a constant is training. I'm just curious as to what does training look like in this new ever-growing anti-DEI landscape, right? And again, because there's going to be these tensions, political tensions of folks feeling like they have to do something and being afraid to do anything. And then there's going to be this clamoring from the working class asking for certain things, right? And I know that it's not the majority of people, but it's still a large enough percentage of your employee population who expects some type of movement in DEI. So it's going to be interesting. We're just going to have to see, right? I'm sure, we'll learn, and we'll come back to y'all with dope conversations like we always do on Living Corporate. But I think for me, it's just more reflective. I just want y'all to know that, it's been half a decade. I'm so proud of where we're at. I'm a bit flabbergasted sometimes, really, at how we've grown, how we're seen in the market. The fact that our team continues to grow is dope. We're recording this, you're hearing this, in about, I'm gonna just say 7 days. 7 days. I'm gonna have some crazy news for y'all. 7 days. Okay? 7 days, right? So make sure you click the link in the show notes, subscribe, follow us so you can see what's going on. But we have some news dropping, okay? And it's relevant, right? It's pertinent to everybody who's a regular listener to Living Corporate, who checks out our content on LinkedIn Learning, who follow us on our socials, who follow me personally, who subscribe to our newsletter, who buy our merch, who thought about buying our merch but didn't. Y'all need to buy the merch. Come on, what's up? These hoodies they're honestly priced to sell. Anyway, it's relevant to all of y'all. So I'm excited about sharing this news with y'all when it's time, which again will be in about 7 days. And until then, thank you. Straight up. Thank you. Thank you for all of your support, right? Even some of y'all who be listening don't be giving me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Even y'all, right? Thank y'all. Love to y'all too. You know what I'm saying? Even though, it's right there. I'm looking at the numbers. The metrics going crazy. Y'all, come on. Y'all got to listen to, you know what I'm saying? Just go in the app and just press, and they give me a review. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I get the algorithm be algorithmic, but the numbers is there. Y'all got to give me the review. Anyway, so it benefits all of y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I love y'all. Okay? Take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Living Corporate is a podcast by Living Corporate LLC. Our logo was designed by David Dawkins. Our theme music was produced by Ken Brown. Additional music production by Antoine Franklin for Musical Elevation. Post-production is handled by Jeremy Jackson. Got a topic suggestion? email us at livingcorporatepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and living-corporate.com. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned.